sleep. Like all their beds, the Sleep Number 360 smart beds let you choose your ideal firmness and support on each side of the bed your Sleep Number setting. Now, with new responsive air technology, this bed senses your every move and automatically adjusts to you, so you stay sleeping comfortably throughout the night. And did you know that you fall asleep faster when your feet are gently warmed? Sleep Number 360 smart beds can pre-warm each side of the bed, so you remember that when it comes wintertime. It's the best time to go into a Sleep Number store because they always have sales going on. Come in now and enjoy introductory savings of between $200 and $400 on the Sleep Number 360 smart bed. 1-800-SLEEP-25, 1-800-SLEEP-25. Tell them we sent you.
This is Joey Logano, driver of NASCAR number 22 Discount Tire Car, and I want to talk to you about air. That's right, air. It makes a huge difference to your tires. Properly inflated tires improve gas mileage, promote safety, and help tires last longer. So be tire smart and do your part. Check tire pressures once a month and before every long journey.
Visit BeTiresmart.org. A message from the Rubber Manufacturers Association.
If you're over 50, listen carefully. Do you have trouble remembering names, where you put your keys, or where you parked your car? Even simple facts that you should remember but just can't? By age 50, the average person has lost half of their short-term memory, and it only gets worse. Don't ignore the warning signs of age-related memory loss. Call now to receive a free 30-day supply of Cebria, the best-selling non-prescription memory formula supported by 20 years of memory research. A scientific study shows that Cebria can boost your memory within just 30 days. Just call 1-800-990-7765 to get started.
I saw myself go from forgetting people's names, forgetting phone numbers, forgetting you name it, I don't know, to having it all at my fingertips.
Get your free bottle of Cebria, 1-800-990-7765, or order online at freememoryoffer.com. One free month per household. Don't wait. Call 1-800-990-7765 or go to freememoryoffer.com.
Dunc and Holder live at you on Sports1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeartRadio app on a Tuesday, August 15th. The Saints are off practice today, but of course still plenty to chat about there. The Pelicans, they at least know where they're going to be traveling throughout the entire season, at least the regular season, as the schedule came out yesterday. We have all of that on NOLA.com. You can check out Will Guillory's top 10 most intriguing games of the year and a breakdown of all the schedule. Again, you can see that on NOLA.com. And look, we're going to be talking Saints. We're going to be talking Pelicans with Sean Squared. Two Seans making their Dunc and Holder debut in the 11 o'clock hour. Sean Fazan from Fox 8 WVUE. Of course, you can very often find me and Sean discussing Saints before each and every game on their pregame show. He's going to join us at the top of the 11 o'clock hour. Then Sean Kelly, the voice of the Pelicans radio broadcast, play-by-play man. Of course, you can hear all those games on our sister station, WRNO 99.5 FM. And he's going to join us at 11:30, and we're going to go over some of the quirks and the craziness of the schedule. And Jeff, you look at the schedule, and to me, I look at the beginning and at the end, and I see some potential pitfalls to where, you want them to start fast, and then I look at the end of the schedule and I say, if you got to make a playoff push, you got some tough sledding in those final few games. So, and of course, it all jumbles out in the middle. Sometimes you'll have 4 games on the road, then sometimes you have 4 out of 5 on at home. So it evens itself out, but. We've talked so many times about a fast start for the Pelicans, and it's going to be a challenge for them to get off to this fast start.
I agree 100%. It's almost a mirror image of the Saints' schedule in that their toughest stretches are right at the beginning of the season almost. I mean, they have to go on the road to Memphis to open the season, and they come back home, get the NBA champs, Golden State Warriors on ESPN in a primetime game on Friday night. I'm sure that'll be a sold-out Smoothie King Center. And then immediately after that, embark on a West Coast trip to the Lakers, Portland Trailblazers, and Sacramento Kings. Then come back home, and your next home game is against, it's Eastern Conference champion Cleveland Cavaliers. Very similar to the Saints in that it's going to be difficult to get off to that fast start, and we really need it, I think, this year with all the anticipation and excitement around finally having everybody together and healthy. And let's face it, Dell Demps and Alvin Gentry are on the hot seat. They've got to win.
Absolutely. And Mickey Loomis has said as much on this show. Alvin Gentry has admitted as much on this show when we got this thing cranked up in our first week, as we're in week 5 of Dunc and Holder.
That's hard to believe.
It is. Well, it's flown by.
It's really hard to believe.
It is really hard to believe. But some great stuff here on Sports1280 and NOLA.com and the iHeart Radio app. To get involved in the show, 504-260-1280. Again, we will go over the Pelicans schedule, the ins and outs. We will go through some Saints training camp news. Of course, hot and heavy is still the Delvin Breaux trade rumors, and our own Josh Katzenstein seemingly got the other side of the story as the day went forward. I wrote a column on it on NOLA.com. We'll go through some of those discussions as well. And already on the phone lines, Dave, I'll let you announce the call because I didn't know we had the fan base in this state. Who?
It's Tyler in North Dakota.
Tyler in North Dakota. I'm assuming, look, I know 1280 signal is pretty good, but I'm assuming it's on the iHeart Radio app. Let's go to Tyler up in North Dakota. Tyler, thanks for calling Dunc and Holder. I have no idea what you're calling about. Normally you don't even take a call in the first segment, but let's just get crazy here today.
Hey, guys, I appreciate you guys taking my call. I'm a huge Saints fan, and I found you guys on SoundCloud one day doing your podcast, but I'm so happy and proud for you guys that you guys got your little show. It's awesome. I actually listen to Paul Allen every day a little bit, and then I switch over to you guys.
Nice.
I heard you on Paul Allen's show one time, and I was like, oh, these guys are cool.
We are that. We are very cool.
Yeah.
I'm borderline cool. Jeff's not that cool.
I wanted to get into the Delvin Breaux thing. I think that's a little crazy.
Yeah, look, I wrote a column about it, and to me, I don't know where it makes sense to even do this, much less if this isn't something where they're really serious about trading him. Yeah. Why just go out and cause unnecessary drama? I don't understand it. And all you got to do is look at the original reporting. And it came from, our competitor, the New Orleans Advocate, got to give him credit, basically saying that the Saints are looking to trade him because they're frustrated with his injury past. So you put that out there. Either you really want to trade him or you don't, and you're trying to do this as motivation. And either way, I don't see how it makes sense. Jeff, you and me were talking about this before the show. We've talked about it a lot on the air yesterday as the story has progressed. And I don't understand where this makes sense. I just don't.
Well, the fact that they put out there that they're frustrated with his injury past, that's kind of self-defeating there. If you're trying to trade the guy, you don't want people to know that you're dealing with damaged goods or somebody that you're not happy with. That hurts your trade value. What you want is a guy that is valued on the open market, and you're diminishing his trade value by putting that out. And that's why my antenna went up as this is more of a motivational ploy. I think I compared it a lot, Tyler, to, if you remember earlier this offseason, Richard Sherman was supposedly on the trade block out in Seattle. They were willing to listen to offers, but they weren't going to trade Richard Sherman unless they got unless they got an incredible offer. And I think that's what the Saints are doing. Hey, he's available, but you're going to have to come up with something really good to get him. So they're not really I wouldn't consider them shopping him. I don't think that's the right phrase. I think he's available if you want to come get him. That's more like it.
Sure. Like in the draft, I was shocked that I wanted to go all defense. Go pass rushers, go corners. We're so depleted at those positions, and especially pass rushers. We didn't do very well, I don't think, on that.
Tyler, I hope you didn't watch the Eagles' first preseason game because the apple of my eye for the Saints was Derek Barnett, and he had 2 sacks in his first game with the Philadelphia Eagles. Probably not something Saints fans and Tyler, probably not something you want to hear because I still see a deficiency in that side. And look, Marshawn Lattimore might be ready to go during the season for week 1, but the fact he's out right now and still hadn't practiced in a while, I'm sure is discouraging for you and many Hoodats.
We cannot be wasting Drew Brees' years anymore. They're getting slim. It's time to win now.
You're not alone in that feeling, Tyler. Hey, Tyler, where are you located at in North Dakota?
I'm located in Bismarck, North Dakota. I'm actually going to the Saints and Minnesota game, the week 1. So I'm going to have my Who Dat fans with me, and we're going to be loud and proud.
I have to admit I have no idea where Bismarck is located, but I would like to know.
It's right in the center.
Okay, well, how did you become a Saints fan in North Dakota? Are you from New Orleans?
I've always been. I've always been a Saints fan. I lived in Phoenix majority of my life. I was Deuce McAllister, Joe Horn days when I started picking up on them.
Very nice. Look at this.
And you just kind of picked up on the Saints? That's rare, I can tell you that.
Yes, it is.
And they weren't winning yet.
The fan base is so special. The fans are so amazing down there.
Yeah, it is. It's an amazing place. You know, when I came down to work at the Times-Picayune, I knew that the Saints were popular, but I had no idea they had this kind of passionate following. It's very much like the Green Bay Packers or Pittsburgh Steelers, Kansas City Chiefs, these great small markets that love their teams, but it's over the top down here. It's truly a unique environment.
One day I'm going to come down to the Superdome and check it out.
There you go. Hey, Tyler. Yeah, absolutely. And look, Tyler, we appreciate the phone call. Keep listening on the iHeartRadio app. And
the Dat Chat we'll be doing another one today, Tyler. So we'll have that up in a little while.
You guys have a good day.
Yeah, you too.
All right. Well, that's Tyler up in North Dakota. And that is something where I would not have anticipated a Saints fan would even exist. Why not Carson Wentz? Look, Mr. North Dakota State. He's with Philadelphia. But, hey, when you latch onto a team as long as he has, and like I said, I brought up the story yesterday how even the Saints attracted former Rams fans. So even though the Saints have their issues, they at least have some fan base outside of New Orleans and stay loyal.
The Who Dat Nation knows no boundaries. I mean, I did a solicitation on social media a few months ago trying to find how many fans I could get from Europe to tell me their stories about how they became Saints fans, and I got inundated with fans from France, Italy. Somebody chimed in. I was actually seeking European Who Dats, but somebody chimed in from Brazil. Tons of fans in England. Fun stories about how they became fans. Surprisingly, a lot of fans latch onto their uniforms, really like that unique, distinctive uniform. And you think about it, the Saints are the only team that has that color combination, I think, in all of pro sports.
Yeah, I think you see it in college. Maybe Central Florida has it.
Right.
Or Purdue, something like that.
I mean, the Steelers are close, but that gold and yellow is totally different color combination. So when you walk by a TV, I had one fan say that when he was in the pubs and sports pubs in England, that it's very distinctive. You see that, you know immediately it's the Saints because it doesn't look like any other uniform.
Well, why would anyone in England root for a French-based logo? I think that would be insanity. They probably spit on the French.
Just like the way it looked. They like the way that looked, that distinctive fleur-de-lis. It is totally unique uniform. I've always have to give Tom Benson and John Meekum credit because they've never veered off that. So many other clubs have gone and monkeyed around with their uniforms or combinations. The Saints have never changed at all. I know a lot of fans would like to see them every once in a while maybe wear a black helmet, and it would look really cool, right? Well, you can't do that anymore. But I like the fact that they've maintained tradition and kept it the same for 50 years.
And those Color Rush uniforms, I think it was voted in one poll the sharpest looking Color Rush uniform in the NFL. What was it? The all white. It looked sleek.
Yeah, those were very cool. Yes. I have to admit, and the players loved them. And look, they've had some tweaks to the uniforms over the years, but they've never truly gone away from them. I mean, the tweak would be maybe a stripe on the sleeve. They add an extra stripe, or they have the fleur-de-lis logo on the sleeve as opposed to not. I mean, that's about as daring as they get with uniform changes.
I did not anticipate opening the show talking about Saints uniforms at 10:17.
I didn't either. You're right.
But hey, look,
great radio.
Hey, but it's okay. Look, when you get a unique situation when someone's calling from frickin' North Dakota, hey, it is unique. Let's be honest. When we got Cordell in Minnesota who calls, and we've got someone in North Dakota's calling, and someone yesterday from Vegas. Hey, I think it shows you the interest that just because Saints fans might not live here, those outside of here want to hear Saints talk. And look, we're going to bring you the legit Saints talk, as in a la what we're talking about with Delvin Bro. Like, what's legit, what's not, what's absurd. I think the whole thing is absurd. I just think the whole thing is absurd. Well, speak of the devil, Cordell got a shout-out, so Cordell's calling back from Minnesota. What's up, Cordell? Thanks for calling Duncan Holder.
What's up, guys?
What's up?
How y'all doing?
Good.
I guess it's a Midwest thing today, right?
A very
the Midwest,
northern Midwest
precincts checking in.
I just want y'all to know, first of all, the Hooters, we represent all across these United States, especially up here in the Midwest. There's so many Saints fans I run into that I'm like, oh, my God. Matter of fact, yesterday I was in a gas station and I ran into a lady. She had a Drew Brees hat on, man. I almost fainted, man. I was like, I was so happy. Every time I run into my fellow Hooters, I just get so excited, and we just go to talking about, football and about our Saints and everything. But I just wanted to call and talk to you guys a little bit about the Delvin Breaux situation. Now, I just think it's got to be, a ploy to get him to hurry up and, get healthy, which I don't know how you can make a person get healthy. If he's hurt, but as far as trading him, I think that's got to be the dumbest thing that the Saints could do. First of all, you don't have any value for a person that's hurt. You understand what I mean? And plus, you have all of these young cornerbacks that hasn't proven anything. You have you drafted a cornerback, a rookie in the first round. He hasn't even practiced yet. So to get rid of arguably your best defensive back is insane. That's the way I see it.
Cordell, hey bud, appreciate the phone call. Of course, listening on the iHeart Radio app, and look, I don't think Jeff and I are going to disagree on essentially anything you said, other than like fainting if I saw a Drew Brees hat in a gas station. I think I'd be okay, but it would for a fan wherever he's driving, because we know Cordell's story. He's a truck driver, so that's why he's listening to us.
Right.
But yeah, I think the Delvin Breaux situation, the way it is, and we'll get into more details of the ins and outs of what's currently going on with his injury. We'll do that when we get back on the other side of our first break here on Duncan Holder. But don't forget, coming up 11 o'clock hour, we'll be talking Saints with Sean Fazan, Fox 8, WVUE TV. Also talking Pelicans as their schedule came out yesterday. You could check out all of it in detail at NOLA.com. But Sean Kelly, play-by-play voice of the Pelicans. Of course, the flagship is our sister station, 99.5 WRNO. We're going to hear from Sean at 11:30. We'll take your phone calls, 504-260-1280. I'm sure the YouTube Live comment stream is alive and
rocking. Mike Hobbs checking in from Qatar again.
See, we're global.
I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but
Qatar. I don't know one or the other. I hear it on the news.
I think it's close to Bismarck, North Dakota, I believe.
I bet you Bismarck is slightly colder than Qatar. Just
a little bit.
Just a touch. But yeah, and we'll go in more into Delvin Breaux. And also an interesting story by someone who came on the show a couple weeks ago. Yahoo's national college football writer, Pete Thamel, kind of did a deep dive on the potential quarterback class coming out in the 2018 draft. And we'll go into that column because there's some interesting tidbits. So we'll do that here in the 10 o'clock hour here on Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeart Radio app. Jeff Duncan, I'm Larry Holder, and we're Duncan Holder.
Let's kick it off! Your shot at a trip to our iHeart Radio Music Festival now. Text the keyword SHOP to 200-200. You'll get a text confirming entry plus iHeart Radio info. Standard data and message rates apply. That's SHOP to 200-200.
This is Josh Innes.
Let's see.
Noon until 2.
We don't need a ton here, I don't think.
Cordial. Sports 1280.
Goodbye. Love you. Bye.
New Orleans.
They might be able to just put that one straight in.
Attention investors, protect your IRA or 401k by storing your retirement at home with an Augusta Home Delivery Gold IRA. Call Augusta today at 888-852-4788 for a free guide on transferring a portion of your IRA or 401k into approved physical gold and silver coins and store them in your safe at home or at your local bank. Call 888-852-4788 today and discover how you can get up to $2,000 in silver free. Call 888-852-4788. That's 888-852-4788.
You wake up to birds chirping before the alarm even starts to ring. It's 6 a.m. and dawn's barely here. A choir of birds singing in your ear. It was cute at first, but now it's just the worst.
Wrap it up, guys.
When your morning is hell, just go to Taco Bell.
When you've had a morning, let us make you breakfast, like Taco Bell's Breakfast Crunch Wrap. A whole breakfast wrapped up and grilled to eat on the go. At participating stores for a limited time during breakfast hours.
Win your trip to our 2017 iHeartRadio Music Festival, hosted by Ryan Seacrest.
Let's go!
Over 20 of the greatest performers on the planet. September 22nd and 23rd at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Listen to win your trip.
The iHeartRadio Music Festival.
Taco Bell's new $1 beefy potato Rito is the perfect comfort food. Crispy potatoes stacked with seasoned beef and melty cheddar cheese. It's all the comfort you need for just $1. Only at Taco Bell.
If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
As a small business owner, you make every dollar count. So what could you do with $10? Go to Vistaprint.com today and you'll get 500 high-quality custom business cards for only $9.99. That's less than 2 cents per card. And at Vistaprint, your satisfaction is absolutely guaranteed. So it's never been easier to turn 500 strangers into connections. Just visit Vistaprint.com and use promo code 9000 at checkout. That's Vistaprint.com, promo code 9000.
This is Dunc and Holder on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
I so know Jeff Duncan was just walking around in boxer briefs, but way back when this song came out, just to be like Marky Mark. Before now, Mr. Mark Wahlberg. You are such a Marky Mark guy. I know it.
I admit I like this song.
What's a great song?
It's infectious. You cannot deny the song.
Jeff, he's basically you're a GIF generator right now. You know, doing your dance moves. We gotta get Clyde on it, make some more GIFs.
Yeah, that is a tradition unlike any other. The Masters and Jeff doing the worm with his arms. I guess we'll just call it that.
I can't help it. Spontaneously combust into joy on songs like this.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I would agree. 504-260-1280. All of a sudden, we've gotten call heavy today. Didn't anticipate that, but lots to talk about here on a random Tuesday when the Saints are off and the Pelicans schedule just comes out, and maybe you run into Drew Brees at a gas station. You never know. That's the word on the street from Richard in the Bywater. Richard, thanks for calling Dunc and Holder. What you got?
Hey, guys. Love the show.
Thanks, man.
I'm working uptown near Audubon Park, and we got off work, went and grabbed a cold beverage at the Shell gas station right there where St. Charles turns into Carrollton. And lo and behold, who's in line in front of me? Mr. Breeze.
Well, he doesn't live too far away, so I guess you got to get gas, and that's where you go.
No, he wasn't getting gas. He was getting 4 quarters for $1 so he could air up his wife's tire on her SUV.
Oh, see, off day, he's put to work.
And I'm sitting here, I'm buying a doggone beer, and I'm watching him air the girl's tire up, and I'm like, Drew Brees is so real. It's just incredible.
Honey-do list. Every man has it, including Drew Brees.
I can tell you, I sure as hell have honey-do lists all day, every day, it seems like.
Well, my wife and I bought one down in the Bywater, and you don't buy a house, you marry it.
I bet you this. I bet you that Drew Brees filled that air to the exact capacity that he was supposed to.
He didn't, 32 PSI, right.
He didn't underflate it like Tom Brady did with the footballs.
He probably was out there with
can't get away with that.
He was out there with the little gauge, perfectly getting it on the mark, because that's Drew Brees.
He didn't pass on 4th down in the Super Bowl with 10 seconds left. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Anyway, love the show, guys. Keep it up, man.
All right, Richard, appreciate it. You know, you get all the minute details here on Dunc and Holder. All of them.
Everywhere. We're everywhere. And that, he's not far from my house. That's up in my hood.
Y'all hang out at Snake and Jake's late at night.
I've been to that
dark corners.
Shell station many times. I used to have a low tire. I know that exact tire pump he's using because you have to know the ones in the area when you've got a leaky tire.
Well, does Delvin Breaux really have a flat tire, or do the Saints feel like he's just making this up and milking the injury? Like, I've heard that, as we've heard the scuttlebutt about Delvin Breaux. Is he in crutches? Is he not? Let's just give you the latest of what our own Josh Katzenstein's reporting. Of course, yesterday the story came out where Delvin Breaux, the Saints are looking to trade him. They're not happy with his injury situation, but I'll just go through what our own Josh Katzenstein reported yesterday, saying that initially diagnosed with a contusion, Breaux on Monday underwent x-rays that revealed a more serious injury, according to a source, though still not an ailment considered long-term in nature. The source declined to say the exact injury with which Breaux is suffering, but the cornerback was seen at the team facility Monday afternoon in a walking boot and using crutches. And Breaux has been wearing a sleeve on his left leg whenever he observed practice. Of course, he broke the fibula in his left leg in Week 1 last year, and he then injured his shoulder and only played 6 games last year. So the fact that maybe let's play. I don't know. Let's just assume some things here. So maybe the Saints informed Delvin Breaux of their intentions, and maybe they threw the claim, "Hey, we think you're milking it." Then he goes and gets another opinion, and he comes back with this on. Jeff, I don't think you can go to a second opinion doctor and just say, "Hey, give me a crutch. Hey, give me a walking boot." I'm pretty sure that's prescribed. I don't think that's something you could just like throw on and say, "Hey, I need this because I want to milk an injury."
No, I would think that's probably at the suggestion or order of Saints trainer Scotty Patton. I mean, I'm sure we see these guys in walking boot all the time as a precautionary measure to take some of the pressure off of whatever ailment they have. And I'm guessing, just my speculation on this, trying to read the tea leaves without knowing anything about the specific injury that Breaux has, it sounds like some kind of bone bruise, which we've heard of in the past. I think Deuce McAllister might have had a bone bruise. He'd be good to talk to about this. But they're very painful injuries. They linger, and they're difficult to diagnose on an MRI or an X-ray. And I think this all starts to add up. Saints trainers going to Sean Payton, "Hey, Coach, we can't see anything. Looks like should be healthy." Coach getting frustrated. Delvin Breaux, "I'm in pain. It hurts. I don't know what to tell you, even if the X-ray doesn't show it. Let's go get a second X-ray, see what's there." You can see how this would manifest itself, and I can bet it happens all the time across the league with different injuries and different players.
And yet the reaction to me is over the top. And could it stem from the Saints being frustrated over the past years with injuries lingering like Jarris Byrd, like Donnell Ellerbe, like Keenan Lewis, and they overreact to this? I could see that. But you could also understand the Saints' frustrations that they deal with this, and they've jumped the gun a little bit here. And to me, you're not going to go out and say, "Oh, we're frustrated about Teron Armstead's injury history," and try to put him on the trading block, because even if you wanted to trade him, you can't move him. His contract is huge.
Contract, yes.
But why isn't there all this talk about frustration with him?
I think because his injuries, they can see are real injuries. He has a torn labrum. They know that. This sounds like one of those really gray area injuries that isn't necessarily easy to diagnose, and I think there's some frustration with that. It's one of those weird ones. It's no different than hamstrings. You hear that a lot. Some guys can come back from hamstring injuries quicker than others, depending on the severity, and sometimes the MRIs aren't quite as specific on what the grade is on those, and I think that's what's leading to the frustration. Not only that, but he's had injuries. Didn't he have a fractured fibula last year? Something else,
and a shoulder injury, but those weren't like things he milked. They happen. It's football. What do you want to do?
Right.
It's not Donnell Ellerbe going on paternity leave and then coming back and he misses 4 weeks because he's got some mysterious injury. It's not the same.
No, unless there's something more to the story, which there usually is.
There could be. There easily could be. And will we ever get down to the bottom of it? Who knows? Let's take one more phone call before we got to take a break here on Dunc and Holder. 504-260-1280. Brother in Metairie. Brother, thanks for calling Dunc and Holder. What you got, brother?
How you guys doing today?
We're doing great.
I don't understand. Maybe I'm missing something here. We're trying to trade Bro, okay? Who in the world is going to give you anything for a hurt player? And I don't understand this. Maybe y'all can explain this to me.
I can't because I don't. I agree with you. If he's damaged goods, what do you expect to get? And for me, you also look at the cornerbacks behind him. P.J. Williams played a game and a half in the NFL. Ken Crawley is a second-year guy who's unproven. Sterling Moore, the only reason why you brought him in last year is because all the other guys got hurt. And you got Devontae Harris, who was an undrafted guy, unproven. Marshawn Lattimore, rookie, and he's been hurt. So where does the logic come in? I don't know.
I agree with you, brother. Here's the thing, though. There's always one team out there that might have an interest in Delvin Breaux despite his injury history. I mean, look at the Saints. They traded for Donnell Ellerbe and traded Kenny Stills and got a draft pick, but they also took Donnell Ellerbe, who had a history of injuries in Miami, and look, it never panned out. So there's always that maybe one team out there that might have an interest that thinks, hey, he's just had these lingering injuries, he'll be fine. But I actually, as I said earlier, don't think they're trying to trade him. I think they're willing to listen to offers for him, and I think that's a very distinct difference, if you know what I mean. They're not out actively shopping him, but if you want to call and make an offer, we'll listen. And I don't think they would do that for, say, Drew Brees. So there's a difference between the two.
All right, guys, you have a great day.
All right, brother. Appreciate the phone call. Let's take a quick break right here on Dunc and Holder. 504-260-1280. The hot phone lines are hopping today on a Tuesday.
It is. It's buzzing.
Well, when you get crazy trade rumors like this about it's a player that has local ties, has a great story, and has never been known as some malcontent.
No.
And again, is there another backstory? I don't know. But who knows? It's an interesting and puzzling scenario. I feel like that's why you've got the interest. But let's switch gears when we come back. Pete Thamel from Yahoo Sports, interesting column on the quarterback class in college football. Of course, the Saints have to be interested in this entire class, and they're going to have to scout it out. So let's go through this, because one name that pops up, oh boy.
Interesting.
It's very interesting and could be painful for a certain school uptown.
And I think people will be going to be very surprised to see this name.
Absolutely. Sports1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeart Radio app. We're Dunc and Holder.
Your forecast on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
This report is brought to you by Holiday Inn.
From the Fox 8 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Bruce Katz. Today we're expecting another day with scattered showers and thunderstorms. Could see some heavy downpours. Coverage at 50%. Going to be a hot day too, the high of 93. Now tonight, most rain ends with lows in the mid to upper 70s. And then as we wrap up the work week, getting into Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, rain chances actually go down a bit, but temperatures go back up. Rain coverage averaging around 20 to 30%, but high temperatures in the low to mid 90s. From the Fox 8 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Bruce Katz with your Weather Authority forecast.
Stop by the Roundhouse Bar and Grill inside the Round Holiday Inn on the West Bank Expressway for breakfast, lunch, or dinner 7 days a week.
Premature birth is the #1 killer of babies. Those who survive often face birth defects and complications that affect them for life. For hundreds of thousands of families in the United States, this is the hardest thing they will ever have to face. And it's even harder on the baby. March of Dimes is providing education and support to families and funding life-saving research to give every baby a fighting chance. You can help. Do something today. Give them tomorrow at marchofdimes.org/tomorrow.
Hey folks, it's Michael Berry, and I want to meet you. I'm going to be in New Orleans at the rooftop bar at the Troubadour Hotel. It's called Monkey Board on Wednesday, August 23rd at 7:30 in the evening. I hope you'll pop in.
News Talk 99.5, WRNO.
If you need a payday loan fast, try LendUp.com. Apply online in minutes on your phone, and you could have cash in your account fast. LendUp.com is the better payday loan, with no hidden fees, and good credit is not required. Visit LendUp.com. LendUp is a licensed credit services organization, not a direct lender, in Ohio and Texas, subject to availability in your state. LendUp. the better way to borrow.
Are your data limits limiting your human potential? Dreams buffering. Do slow networks make your soul feel sluggish? Megabyte molasses. With Simple Mobile, you get truly unlimited high-speed data for just $50 a month. Bucks meaning dollars, not dear. If you want better wireless, the answer is simple. Simple Mobile. Available at Best Buy, Dollar General, Walgreens, and other national retailers. Video typically streams at DVD quality. A month equals 30 days. Please refer always to the latest terms and conditions of service at simplemobile.com.
Guys don't really talk about antiperspirant. Despite that, 91% of Dove Men Plus Care users recommend it. Here's what they said.
It blocks the, perspiration, I think is the fancy word.
It's comfortable. It smells nice. My girl likes the smell. Well, I don't know. It's hard.
I think it's quite masculine. My underarms aren't the worst thing at the gym.
It's kind of like the Hoover Dam from my armpits, I guess.
Dove Men Plus Care Antiperspirant. Tough on sweat, not on skin.
Today we decided to walk to school. The light counted. 15, 41, 13. We took a left on Raccoon Street. There were so many sounds. I realized I forgot my homework. I hope I don't have another bad day at school.
When you can see learning and attention issues from their side, you can be on their side. That's why there's Understood.org, a free resource for the parents of the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues. Go from misunderstanding to Understood.org. Brought to you by Understood and the Ad Council.
Going deep on the teams you care about. Sports 1280, New Orleans.
Our YouTube Live feed just saw technical genius at work. It's a lot more colorful behind me now that we don't have to just look at this Louisville pennant and Outback Bowl. At least that was a win.
What are you riding on, Louisville? Come on.
Louisville.
That's an awesome old school Louisville Cardinal logo.
It is old school.
I like it.
Your pennant.
We've got more to put up. I just need thumbtacks, Larry. We need thumbtacks.
I keep forgetting the thumbtacks.
And we actually, our good friend Adam Norris from University of New Orleans reached out to me and is going to contribute to the decorations with some UNO paraphernalia.
Absolutely, we need it.
So anybody else out there wants to contribute, any high schools, colleges, pros, we'll take anything. Well, almost anything. It will be adorned in our...
almost anything, especially from high schools. Almost anything.
Palatial studios here.
I mean, if it's not Raider Pride, we're not putting it up.
Oh, here we go.
That's it.
Here we go.
We'll put it from
we'll take a Rummel.
We'll put up from your alma mater. Where I don't even know where you went to high school in Louisville.
Oh my gosh, Seneca High School.
Never heard of it.
Produced Diane Sawyer, Wes Unseld, maybe one of the greatest basketball players of all time, and the longtime mayor of Louisville, Jerry Abramson, was mayor for like 30 years or something, 25 years. Seneca High School, one of the great schools in America.
Rummel produced one of the Ocean 11.
That's your claim to fame?
Yes. one of Ocean's 11.
Who is this?
Okay.
Famous person.
You'll remember.
This B-list celebrity.
You'll remember it by this. Do you remember how they used to have like the Bud Light commercial, and it would be like he would be there in the limo, and he held like Dr. I'm Gally Weekich. You mean Dr. Galakowicz? Yes, I am.
I do remember
He's
that.
the Yes, I am guy.
That's your claim to fame.
That's Raider Pride.
Rummel's greatest. Larry Holder and
that guy.
Dr. Gatzowitz or whatever.
Oh,
Brother Martin produced Richard Simmons.
Well, exactly.
Well, that's pretty damn good.
Yeah. Is he lost still?
No, he's just retired.
I thought there was this big documentary of like trying to find Richard Simmons because he's been lost.
Yeah, what had happened was he removed himself from the public eye because he put on a lot of weight and he doesn't want the public to see him because he's the fitness guru. And
that wouldn't work.
Yeah, it would look bad for the image, et cetera, et cetera.
Jane Fonda still looks fit. Not Richard Simmons, as they were the VHS tape gurus of the 80s.
Abs of steel.
Right.
Richard Simmons made a lot of money and then literally got fat.
Nothing wrong with that. So did Jamarcus Russell. Same thing. Make a lot of money, get fat.
I will say this.
Jonathan Sullivan, too. Make a lot of money, get fat.
Shaquille.
When I was out doing
Shaquille, at least, is a Hall of Famer.
The Drew Brees Delmar story, you know this part of the story.
Yes.
I went to Jenny Craig, the diet, nutrition, food maven, and she is still very thin, and she's in her 80s, and she's actually a Louisiana native. I don't think people know that.
I don't think I knew that when you did the story. I did not realize
she has
that.
a framed copy of a front page story on her from the Times-Picayune on her wall in her $42 million house.
Didn't you try to?
That's not a typo.
Didn't you try to butt into the house? Did you get into the house?
Yes, we were in the house.
That's what I thought.
Yes.
You and David Grunfeld are
yes, ace photographer,
absolutely.
And she could not have been sweeter. Just a total sweetheart of a woman, and allowed us into her house right on the beach in Del Mar. That's some prime real estate. There's only about 10 or 11 houses actually on the beach, and that, of course, is why it's so expensive. I mean, the house was nice, don't get me wrong, but $42 million, easily the most expensive piece of property I've ever been in. I haven't been to yours yet, so I'm sure it's up there.
My Algiers estate, not exactly worth that much, but it's a lovely home.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. And we're invited back. Anytime she said we want to come to Del Mar, we can go to Jenny Craig's house. I know right where it's at.
Well, I'm going to Los Angeles here in a day.
You can make the drive down. Make the drive down. Just tell her you work for the Times-Picayune, and you are in.
Oh, I'm totally going to do it. I'm going to ditch all of our colleagues and ditch practice and go hang with Jenny Craig.
Tell her you know Breeze. Jenny Craig and Drew Breeze actually were in a horse ownership group together out in Del Mar, so Drew knows her very well.
Here's another Duncan Holder segment gone to hell. Let's see what we talked, what names we dropped in this segment. Drew Brees, okay. Jenny Craig,
Richard Simmons,
Jamarcus Russell, Jane Fonda, an Ocean 11 Rummel guy, and Diane Sawyer. Who else?
Wes Unseld,
and then some mayor.
Correct.
This segment is
we're all over the place. We're at the Delvin Bro.
This segment has gone down the tubes quickly. Exactly. Why don't we take a break here, because I don't want to shortchange the next segment. We've been teasing this column, and we have to talk about it.
Yeah,
so
we got to actually get to it.
Let's go to break so we get a couple more minutes, because top 11 o'clock hour, Sean Fazan talking Saints, 11:30. Sean Kelly talking Pelicans. And your phone calls, 504-260-1280, and your discussion on YouTube Live. You can jump in there, and we will try to get to that as yet. Tuesday is going off the rails, but hey, it's been fun. We can have some fun. We've admitted we can have fun on this show from time to time.
Well, this song is nothing but fun.
Absolutely. I was praying this morning. I heard some Deborah Gibson, so if Dave could come up with that later on the show, double thumbs up. Jeff's new crush.
Deborah Gibson is definitely my new crush.
I told you.
Along with Adam Bighill.
Exactly. Sports1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeart Radio app. Jeff Dunc and Larry Holder. We're Duncan Holder.
What do I think about LSU this year?
Jordy Holtzberg.
I don't doubt the talent.
2 till 4.
The question is, how quickly can you get this talent to become college football players and successful college football players?
Sports 1280.
I don't like compromise, which means I don't want adjusting my underwear every other set until it becomes part of my routine. Solution? Freego by RevolutionWear.com. Underwear reimagined. I stay cool, dry, and focused on my next rep. Not tugging and grabbing and putting things back in place. Freego by RevolutionWear.com is as high-tech as you can get with underwear. No pinching, no pulling, no restricting. Buy Freego online now at RevolutionWear.com. The revolution starts below.
Did you know 22 Americans die each day waiting for organ transplants, most of them for kidneys? The good news is that MatchingDonors.com is helping to change that. MatchingDonors.com is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that links organ donors with people in desperate need of kidneys and other transplants. And now you don't need to donate a kidney to save a life. You can donate your boat, car, or real estate, with 100% of the proceeds going to help save the lives of people needing organ transplants. Visit MatchingDonors.com or call 800-385-0422.
Hurry in. For a limited time, get big savings on automotive batteries while they're hot. Visit AutoZone today for hot deals on the parts and supplies you need. While heat causes battery fluid to evaporate, which could damage your battery, Duralast batteries are designed to beat the heat, tested to start your car at up to 167 degrees Fahrenheit. And right now, you'll get a $20 AutoZone gift card by mail-in rebate when you buy select automotive batteries. Let's get you what you need. Restrictions and details apply. Limit 2.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation of America invites you to take steps for cures at a walk near you. Support the 1.6 million Americans living with these diseases. Get started at cctakesteps.org.
This is Joey Logano, driver of NASCAR number 22 Discount Tire Car, and I want to talk to you about air. That's right, air. It makes a huge difference to your tires. Properly inflated tires improve gas mileage, promote safety, and help tires last longer. So be tire smart and do your part. Check tire pressures once a month and before every long journey.
Visit BeTiresmart.org. A message from the Rubber Manufacturers Association.
This is Dunc and Holder on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
Welcome back, Dunc and Holder. Larry Holder, Jeff Duncan here with you. This is what I'm talking about, Jeff. Get that poster up in your room of Debbie Gibson from the teen pop magazines from the mid-'80s. Do it.
I think I'm going to order a Debbie Gibson poster for that spot right there on the wall.
I have no problem with it.
I wouldn't either.
Put that poster right next to me. No problem.
Debbie, you cannot deny this song.
Of course not.
It's awesome.
Exactly. Getting back to sports talk, finally. Pete Thamel, Yahoo Sports National College Football writer, had him on here a couple weeks ago, did an interesting column on this year's quarterback class in college football. I will say this. Danny Etling's not mentioned. Miles Brennan's not mentioned. No one remotely related to LSU's mentioned. So don't worry about those guys being drafted high or being the next big thing in the NFL. So none of those are in there. But the top three in the class from scouts and executives, and he talked to a bunch of different people who were kind of in the scouting world. Top three guys, and even Gil Brandt, longtime Cowboys player personnel guru. Now you see him a lot on NFL.com. He says that he thinks Josh Allen of Wyoming, Sam Darnold of USC, and Josh Rosen of UCLA could be all top 10 picks in the upcoming draft. Obviously, quarterbacks go higher, but the fact you're saying that right now, I think is certainly telling that this class might be pretty deep outside of those three as well.
Well, you know, a lot of people thought this year's quarterback class in the draft was very weak, but you're looking at the first weekend. I realize it's the first weekend of the preseason, but you could have three guys end up starting. Deshaun Kaiser, Patrick Mahomes might end up one day beating out Alex Smith. He played so well for Kansas City. And I'm blanking on the other.
Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, and Deshaun Watson, and also Mitch Trubisky.
So maybe four.
So it might be better than people thought. I mean, it's really early, clearly early, but this class looks even better. I mean, much better if you really look at the depth of it.
Yeah, and those three guys would stand out, and you're going to hear those names throughout. If I remember correctly, I know Darnold and Allen were at the Manning Passing Academy. Was Josh Rosen there?
Josh Rosen was not there.
I didn't think so.
Surprisingly not there. He might be the only top quarterback that wasn't there.
Right. And Allen actually wasn't on the list of people to speak to the media, which I also found was kind of bizarre too. But oh well.
No, he's a big-time player.
Yeah, there's
a lot of people
doubt.
aren't familiar with him because he plays at Wyoming, but scouts love him.
Right. All three are pro-style guys, and from what Thamel was saying is that they feel like Rosen has the most pure arm talent, and he's got a classic release, ball jumps, but injury history, only 11-8 as a starter, and something we didn't talk about on this show, I almost say on purpose because people were taking Rosen's comments out of context, the whole if someone at Alabama and they would raise the SAT scores, what would they be then? And I think we smartly just ignored it because people are grabbing headlines, and that wasn't the brunt of what he was talking about.
No, not at all. And Rosen's a pretty cocky kind of LA guy. I mean, he's one of these guys wherever he goes in the NFL, he's going to be a kind of a Joe Namath type in his day. I mean, he's that kind of personality, but big time player. No doubt about it.
Yeah, and Darnold, you could see he looks the part. We saw him in person at the Manning Passing Academy, 6'4", 220, and everyone knows that he's going to be one to watch. And look, he could easily win the Heisman Trophy if he has an incredible year, especially plays at USC. And you get a lot of attention if you're a stud and if you go to USC, a la Carson Palmer, a la Reggie Bush, a la Matt Leinart. Look, those guys get tons of pub. And look, most of the time it's rightfully so.
Darnold sounds to me like a little bit of an Andrew Luck type, just kind of a can't miss. Everything about him, from his size to his makeup. He's a little more low-key probably than some other guys, but there's not many kinks in the armor on Sam Darnold. He's going to probably be the number one pick, I would imagine.
And Thamel talking about Allen, and it falls into the same narrative as Carson Wentz because they're playing in the same part of the country. Of course, Wentz went to North Dakota State, and Allen is in Wyoming, and Allen is a huge guy, 6'5", 233. And one of the things that Thamel mentioned, scouts are going to be watching him. He's a redshirt junior. He did throw 15 interceptions last year. And, of course, he's playing with far fewer weapons than, say, a Rosen and a Darnold. But one game in particular that scouts are circling is when Wyoming plays Oregon on September 16th. And that will be the game where college scouts will see, all right, does Allen have it or does he not have it?
Right. That'll be a barometer game, a gauge test for him. But, look, I think Carson Wentz proved right away, and he's not the first one. A lot of guys come into this league from smaller schools and excel. I think back to when I was covering the Titans and Steve McNair. That was the big question on him coming out of Alcorn State, and he ended up being an MVP. As long as you have the proper support staff, the transition isn't that difficult, especially today with these wide-open college systems.
Now, under the subhead, who could crash the top three party or emerge to join them in the first round? This is going to sting if you're an LSU, Tulane, anyone in the state who could have had this kid from Jesuit. So they asked, who's number 4? Man, said another scout, that's a good question. He started by mentioning Nebraska quarterback Tanner Lee. Yes, Tanner Lee, the transfer from Tulane, who, according to multiple sources, Sir Thamel said, was among the most impressive quarterbacks on the college level at the Manning Passing Academy. And 6'4", 220. Phil Savage, of course, scouting guru, former GM, am I correct?
Yeah, Cleveland Browns.
Right. The most intriguing one out there is Tanner Lee. I'd put him in there as the 4th one. I think he's going to be the name that no one knows that much about, that has a really rapid ascent once the season gets started. Of course, he hasn't had all kinds of success in his college career, 23 touchdowns, 21 picks, but has 2 years left of eligibility.
Signed by Curtis Johnson to Tulane, and really I thought excelled at Tulane in spite of not having much around him. I thought Tanner Lee showed that he can be a big-time player, and now he's going to get the chance on a national stage in the Big 10, for Nebraska, and Coach Mike Riley, who obviously has connections down here still from when he was a Saints assistant, knows the area. I think it's a really good fit for both sides. I'm eager to see Tanner Lee in Nebraska.
And you wonder where it went wrong with Tanner Lee and Tulane. I know he was hurt, and you could just see what he has. He's a pro-style quarterback, but it's almost like college football. If you aren't dedicated and have the players around you to run pro-style, that quarterback's not going to fit. And he went to Nebraska, where you figure pro-style quarterbacks don't fit, and yet that's what they're going to be running now. I could tell you Scott Shanley, former Saints linebacker, who's big Nebraska because he went there, he likes to put on Twitter how much he likes Tanner Lee. And to me, is he one of those guys who jumps? I'm not going to say he's Patrick Mahomes jumps, but Patrick Mahomes was not thought of as the top 3 in the class. It was Kaiser, Trubisky, Watson at the beginning of all the draft stuff. And then a guy like Mahomes jumps. Does Tanner Lee jump like that? Obviously, the season's going to predicate on that, but I think it's just painful that you hear that and he goes somewhere and he's a pro prospect.
I think the circumstances at Tulane were unfortunate. when he got to Tulane and when he was the man in charge, they didn't have the offensive line to generate any kind of offense.
He was getting pummeled. That's right.
It was terrible. And then they bring in Willie Fritz, who, of course, runs this spread option attack. It doesn't fit what Tanner Lee does. They left amicably, and it makes perfect sense for both sides. So we'll see what he does. I think everybody, including everybody at Tulane's, pulling for Tanner Lee.
And honestly, would he be the next Saints quarterback? Ooh.
That would be
Ryan Griffin wasn't.
Well, I know one person that'll vote for him and go to bat for him is Pete Carmichael, because he's very familiar. I think former neighbor of Tanner Lee and his family.
Interesting. Hour number 1 is up. Hour number 2 is on the way. Sean Squared, Sean Fazan, and Sean Kelly will talk Saints and Pelicans in hour number 2, 504-260-1280 to get involved in the conversation here on Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeartRadio app. We're Duncan Holder.
Our military service members volunteer to protect us in the most dangerous places around the world. They step up. And when they are severely ill or injured, returning to their families is only the beginning of their long road home. Wounded Warrior Project provides these brave men and women whatever they need to continue their fight for independence, at no cost, for life. So now it's time for a grateful nation to step up. Join us at findwwp.org.
Together, we can turn a stairwell into an ER at a moment's notice. Together, we can turn a rescue ship for refugees into a maternity ward. Together, we can vaccinate 710,000 people in just 11 days. Together, we are Doctors Without Borders. Doctors Without Borders goes where others don't to provide life-saving medical care. Learn more at doctorswithoutborders.org.
WODT WNOE FM HD2 New Orleans. Listen on the free iHeartRadio app. Search Sports 1280. Fox Sports trending now.
One-day game in the major leagues today. Coming up in about 40 minutes, Arizona is going to be hosting Houston. It's Brad Peacock, 10-1 on the mound for the day game. Bit later on, I should say. Houston, best record in the American League, 72-46, but they have lost 6 of their last 7 games. In fact, Houston got shut out 2-0 at Arizona last night against Zach Greinke and company. Among the games tonight, the Mets and Jacob deGrom at the Yankees. Sonny Gray going for the Yanks. The Little League World Series starts Thursday. NFL exhibitions resume on Thursday night. Miami will play quarterback Jay Cutler then. Dolphins defensive back Tony Lippett out for the year with a torn Achilles. The Eagles will release running back Ryan Matthews. He's just been medically cleared, according to NFL Network. He had neck surgery. Running back of the Falcons, Devontae Freeman, is in concussion protocol. I'm Steve DeSager.
The IRS doesn't mess around. If they want your money, they'll take it. They can take your paycheck and bank accounts too, even threaten your home or business. And it's about to get worse. The IRS just hired an army of new tax enforcers. So, if you owe back taxes, the smartest thing you can do is call Optima Tax Relief. Optima has access to a special IRS tax assistance program called the Fresh Start Initiative. And their clients that qualify are saving thousands, even tens of thousands. One call starts the process to stop the demand letters, stop aggressive collection actions, and stop that army of new enforcers from targeting you. But don't delay. It's important to act now while you still have options. Optima is A-rated with the Better Business Bureau. Optima has already resolved over $500 million of tax debt for their clients. Get your life back. Call now for your free consultation.
Call 800-798-2477. That's 800-798-2477. 800-798-2477. Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Welcome to America Speaks by Zip, the polling app that lets you tell the nation what you think. Download the Zip app today. It's Tuesday, August 15th. Dunkin' Donuts says goodbye to the latter part of its name, testing signage in a few locations that refer to the brand simply as Dunkin'. Are you in favor? Women were most opposed, 72% saying no. The original name is iconic. 68% of men agree. It looks like the unemployment rate has returned to a 16-year historic low of 4.3%, according to the Labor Department. Is the economy looking up? 71% of all respondents to the Zip app said yes. After speaking out against President Trump's trans order, Caitlyn Jenner was spotted wearing a Make America Great Again hat while driving in L.A.
What does this mean? 68% said it means she still supports the president. Answer all of life's opinion-based questions with just one swipe. Download Zip, the polling app that lets you tell the nation what you think. In the App Store, it's free and 100% anonymous.
Can you mow a yard, clean a house, haul off some junk? Then you can make extra money with the Tackle app. Tackle is an amazing new app that connects people who can perform small jobs with customers who need them done. Signing up is easy, so become a Tackle provider today. Go to Tackle.com to join. That's TAKL.com. As a Tackle provider, you can be your own boss, set your own hours, and make great money. Go to TAKL.com today.
Rich Eisen here. Traveling this summer? Then get into the 2017 Honda Civic. It's got an available turbocharged engine for exciting performance and 42 miles per gallon on the highway. It even has Honda Sensing, a suite of available safety and driver assistive technologies, including lane keeping assist. So if your Civic begins to stray from the center of a lane, the steering adjusts to help bring you back. Hurry into the Honda Summerbration sales event today for great deals on the All-Star Civic.
Hurry in. For a limited time, get big savings on automotive batteries while they're hot. Visit AutoZone today for hot deals on the parts and supplies you need. While heat causes battery fluid to evaporate, which could damage your battery, Duralast batteries are designed to beat the heat, tested to start your car at up to 167 degrees Fahrenheit. And right now, you'll get a $20 AutoZone gift card by mail-in rebate when you buy select automotive batteries. Let's get you what you need. Restrictions and details apply. Limit 2.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Can you mow a yard, clean a house, haul off some junk? Then you can make extra money with the Tackle app. Tackle is an amazing new app that connects people who can perform small jobs with customers who need them done. Signing up is easy, so become a Tackle provider today. Go to Tackle.com to join. That's TAKL.com. As a Tackle provider, you can be your own boss, set your own hours, and make great money. Go to TAKL.com today.
Dunc and Holder, hour number 2 here on Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeart Radio app. If you missed any of our show or previous shows, you go check it all out on podcasts, our NOLA.com SoundCloud page, our NOLA.com iTunes page, and everywhere on Sports1280.com. And had a lot of interesting conversation talking Delvin Breaux, talking Saints. Of course, that is a hot topic as the Saints are not practicing today. Day off. They got practice tomorrow that's closed to the public. And then they head off to Los Angeles for a couple days of practices and have their second preseason game in what's little more than a high school stadium in Texas against the Los Angeles Chargers.
StubHub Center, 30,000, probably similar to Ullman Stadium at Tulane. About the same size, I would think. Reminds me a little bit of playing a game maybe at Tad Gormley or something.
That's not good.
It's going to be interesting. Although this is a very modern, up-to-date facility. It's a nice facility. It's just small.
Well, I know someone who will be there. I would assume he will be there because he's everywhere, wherever the Saints go. Sean Fazan from WVUE TV, Fox 8. Join us right here on Dunc and Holder, making his maiden voyage on the show. What's up, Sean? How are you?
I'm doing great. Great to be with y'all.
Yeah, you, I'm sure, have been immersed in what in the world is going on with this Delvin Breaux situation. What's your take on everything that's kind of surrounding this story?
Well, you know, I can't make heads or tails of this, and there's a lot of layers to this. You know, Larry, I saw your column, and I got to admit that was the first person I thought of, too, was Pierre Thomas in 2010. When, you know, the whole famous healthy scratch by Jay Glazer report came out with Pierre Thomas because they thought, you know, perhaps he wasn't as injured as he let on. There's a lot of layers here. I don't understand why you would necessarily put him on the block considering what you have at cornerback. Sure, they've added depth, but we don't know how good these guys are going to be. I mean, King Crawley and Devontae Harris have had good camps. P.J. Williams, when healthy, has had good camps, but certainly he's nothing to to bank on because of his availability in the past. Marshawn Lattimore, we think, will be a good pro. We don't know. So there's a lot of uncertainty at the cornerback position. So you know what you have in Delvin Breaux when healthy. I understand there's an availability factor, but I don't know that you're set. It's a little different than Danielle Ellerbe because at linebacker you really restock that room to the point where you think you have some guys that can adequately replace him, and I'm not sure the Saints have that player when it comes to Breaux.
Sean, I agree with you 100%, and the thing that's kind of a curveball, I think, for all of us that cover the team on a regular basis is that Delvin Breaux is not one of these guys you would question. I mean, he's got a great mentality. Everybody in the locker room likes him. I've never heard really a negative word about Delvin Breaux, so it's kind of – I understand people can be frustrated with his injury history, but you could say that for a lot of guys in that locker room, and they're not being dangled as trade bait.
Yeah, and look – guy came back from a broken neck and broken vertebrae. It's not like he's milking any injuries here. I mean, if he's hurt, he's hurt. And there's still plenty of time here to get healthy. That's the other thing. Unless there's a deeper issue, we don't have the full facts of the injury. Unless there's a deeper issue that may linger him into the regular season and into deeper into the season, then that's one thing. But I mean, we're talking preseason right here. I mean, let these guys get healthy. If he's ready to go, he's ready to go. I can't quite make heads or tails of this. If it's a motivational thing, okay, but I can't imagine, there'd be a huge amount of, attention on the open market for a guy like that if you're basically letting everyone know we're frustrated with his injury. I don't know. He's a little bit of damaged goods if that's the case.
Well, if it's a motivational ploy and I'm Delvin Breaux, I'm not very happy with that. I mean, why am I being singled out? I mean, here Delvin Breaux is a New Orleans native, has a young family. Last thing he wants to do is move.
There's no doubt about it, and that's where I'm really. It kind of caught everyone off guard, and I'm just curious to know what's the end game here. I mean, do you really want to trade him? If so, with the Brandon Cooks scenario, you were trying to upgrade your defense, and so you let it be known that you were possibly looking to trade him. But in Delvin Breaux's case, it's almost like you're angry at something else, so we might just trade him. I don't understand where. I don't understand the connection there. What's the ultimate, end game with that?
Sean Fazan, Fox 8, WVUE TV, joining us right here on Dunc and Holder. Sean, the problem here is if you are in our shoes, say in journalism land, and you see a name floated as trade or tradable, and you have to take it seriously because look at all the people they've traded over the years. Big names, Pro Bowl guys, significant contributors to the team. So you've got to take it serious. And to me, if this gets out, you at least want to hear phone calls and something might come up and then you trade them and then here we go again. Another big name out there. So it's something you can't just dismiss.
No doubt. And that's sort of the other side to this is, part of me says, you know what? Maybe he would be somewhat of an attractive asset if you can somehow prove that he's going to be healthy enough to go when the season starts. And maybe you could get something in return for him. But as of this minute, if he's clearly battling something, and as Josh Katchenstein reported, the injury was perhaps a little bit deeper than they originally thought. It doesn't make much sense, but maybe they're trying to get the phone calls working and the chatter going around the league, and maybe they can get something. But I go back to this. I mean, without Delvin Breaux, and you don't have a surefire, let's just say it's a draft pick you get back, I don't know how much better your cornerback room is without him, given what you have currently on the roster. So it's certainly an intriguing storyline to watch as training camp and preseason unfolds.
Sean, we haven't talked to you since the Cleveland game. What was your takeaway from that game? I was actually fairly encouraged early on. I thought the defense, especially the run defense, was very solid against most of the Browns' first-team offensive line except for Joe Thomas. And I came away more encouraged than discouraged, even though ultimately they lost the game.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I thought the first-team defense played solid. They didn't allow a first down in the first quarter. I thought Alvin Kamara, in likely formations and scenarios he's not going to be in a lot in the regular season, really performed well. Showed he can be a tough inside runner. Showed he can take contact. I think that's a good thing. Obviously, Tom Lee Lewis flashed a little bit with the 10-catch performance. Certainly put his name back in the mix for that fifth wide receiver spot. and there were obviously some preseason issues with penalties, and Garrett Grayson and Ryan Nassif, I thought, played a little bit better. Garrett Grayson, obviously, still the jury is still out. But the one thing that stood out to me, Jeff, and this was interesting because I had to walk to the at the 2-minute mark. You guys know the elevator stops, so I had to walk to the elevator to beat when they stopped the elevator for the coaches to come down. But they had already stopped it at about 2 minutes and 30 seconds left. So I had to kind of stand around and watch the game from inside the stadium, and the Cleveland Broadcast Network was on. That crew took it serious. I have never seen a broadcast crew more excited about a preseason opening win than the Cleveland Browns broadcast crew did Thursday night. So it just goes to show you the kind of state of mind of both franchises.
Sean, you heading to Los Angeles, I assume?
I am. Me and a guy you know very well, Edwin Good, will be heading out there tomorrow, and we'll enjoy some time out on the West Coast.
Well, you'll see me there, too. I'm just curious, what are you looking forward to, and maybe players you want to watch in these practices, because it's certainly it's certainly different than, say, a preseason game, because, to me, you will see ones go up against ones far more than you will in a game.
Yeah, and that's really where I'm looking. First team, ones versus ones, how are they stacking up? We don't know Drew Brees' snap count in the game, but we know he's going to practice against another defense like the Chargers. If Ryan Ramczyk practices and he goes up against a Bosa, how does he hold up?
Or even Melvin Ingram. You put Melvin Ingram or Bosa, you got two legitimate pass rushers. He's going to, and they're different from, say, Kikaha, a guy he's facing, because he's not going up against Cam Jordan too much with the Saints.
There's no doubt. And look, I think he's had a good camp. I think he's been one of the better storylines of camp. But we haven't seen him against anyone other than the Saints. So he's definitely number one I would be looking at, number 71. And on the defensive side of the ball, can they kind of grow from that start in Cleveland? And look, let's be honest, it was Cleveland. This is a little bit more of an explosive offense with a lot of different weapons. So can they respond and still be the same defense that they were against Cleveland? Overall, you just want to see kind of that momentum push, from training camp practices against each other to the preseason opener. Now a joint practice with a clearly better team. And are they just kind of up for the challenge? I think it should be a good week.
I agree with you, Sean. People forget the Chargers. There was a great stat going back to last season. The Chargers were 1-6 in games decided by 3 points or less, with the worst record in the league. The Saints were 2-4. They weren't weren't a whole lot better. But the Saints, of course, won that game out in San Diego that they easily could have lost. I mean, the Chargers kind of gift-wrapped it to them. They're a better team than people think. They had a ton of injuries, lost a lot of close games. They could be a team that quickly bounces back the way if they just get a few more breaks and stay healthy.
Yeah, they always seem like a team that's knocking on the door. They really do. They seem like a team that's always better than their final record shows. Because if you look at that roster, there's some talent at just about every position. And that game last year was something. I mean, we had, on the ride down in the elevator from the press box to the field, I was in the press box with Mike Neighbors of CST, and we were talking about how this team's going to go 0-4, the Saints, and all of a sudden the miracle happens, or the implosion happens by the Chargers, however you want to look at it. And sure enough, they win that game. But the Chargers are always that team you feel like is so much better than their final record actually shows. So this is a good challenge right now for the Saints at this stage of preseason.
Sean Pazan, Fox 8 TV, and, of course, on the pregame show each and every game for Saints games whenever they're on the Fox broadcast. And you also do some pregame stuff with the Saints through Raycom, right?
Correct. We do our Raycom pregame show. The game starts at 7, so we'll do it from 6:30 to 7. So I'm involved in the pregame show with Sean Kelly, Joel Myers, John Stinchcomb, Curtis Lofton, and, of course, our own Juan Kincaid.
And we might have perhaps the greatest disparity in flag football media game quarterback talent in history right now, with Sean Pazan,
nonsense,
who is the Cam Newton of flag football, and our own Larry Holder, who is something short of Cam Newton.
Larry, I hope you redeem yourself this year. I know you're better than what you showed in year one. I know you're better.
I mean, it's one throw.
I know you're better.
One throw. Your station's guilty of it. The station behind me, WDSU's guilty of it. You show one throw. You don't show the other ones where I complete 5 in a row after that. But no, even Zach Streep goes to New Orleans Press Club, puts it up on video, me throwing the ball that goes 2 feet Even Bobby Hebert understood. He watched the video, watched the tape, and saw the ball just slip out of my hand.
Wow.
It happens.
I think it was a hot button here, Sean. We touched a nerve.
I think we struck a nerve here with Holder. But Holder, look.
You're damn right you struck a nerve.
I know you're better than the low light we showed. I know you're better than that. You'll do better. I know it.
It was Aaron Brooks like.
This is awful.
Except it wasn't backwards.
Yeah, it was forward, but I've seen wounded ducks fly better than that.
So
football.
that means I get in the Saints Hall of Fame. If AB's in, I'm in.
Well, maybe the Saints Media Football Hall of Fame. Definitely first ballot is Sean Fazan. He ran rings around the Patriots. They're still trying to figure out how to defend
Scott
Sean.
Zolak's still on the sideline pouting. Tom Curran up there
Scott
too.
Zolak was upset after that one, man. He just he didn't quite expect what we were getting. You know, in that game, you know, they had about 20 people sign up, and we had 6. So I don't know. I was a little more urgent about winning that game than I had let on. I was ready to go.
All right, Sean. Well, hey, bud, appreciate it. And you're officially on the do not call list. You're never coming on the show again. It's over. Jeff, you're out too.
Guys.
Get out. All right, Sean.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Sean.
it, buddy. See you out in Los Angeles. Sean Fazan, Fox 8 WVUE TV. And yeah,
I had to get that in, by the way, before he got off the air. You were trying to wrap it up, and I said I
didn't know you were going to go
needed
there.
an opening.
I did not know you were going to go there.
Sean was
I
incredible.
predicted. Yes, he's incredible.
It was so funny, too, because the Patriots were so cocky before that game. I mean, the Patriots media, I should say. Scott Zolak, of course, who played in the NFL, he was walking around like Reno Hightower, if you remember the movie Best of Times with Kurt Russell and Robin Williams.
I don't
Great,
remember that movie.
Kind of a cult movie.
I don't remember it.
He just reminded me of this, we're going to come in here with these jokers from Louisiana, and Sean Fazan was unbelievable.
He made them look silly.
Terrific athlete, very underrated. I've seen worse athletes on the Saints in practice squad.
Well, why doesn't Sean get on a tennis court and we'll see what happens?
Oh, here we go.
Yep. I got to bring something back.
Challenge
to the table.
his manhood.
Exactly. Well, at least my athletic prowess here.
Put it that way, yeah.
Exactly. Come on back. We'll be talking more Saints, but also 11:30 we will jump into the Pelicans schedule. We'll jump in that with Sean Kelly. Of course, he is the Pelicans radio play-by-play voice. You can hear every single game on our sister station, WRNO 99.5 FM. But we're on Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeartRadio app. Jeff Duncan, Larry Holder. We're Duncan Holder.
'Cause every time he pulls me near, I just want to cheer. Let's hear it for the boy. Let's give the boy a hand. Yeah.
New Orleanians are passionate about local sports.
Join Corey Johnson on The Neutral Ground.
Maybe more so than any market in America.
4 till 6.
I think it is a super tight connection.
Sports 1280.
New Orleans.
Win your trip to our 2017 iHeartRadio Music Festival, hosted by Ryan Seacrest.
Let's go!
Over 20 of the greatest performers on the planet. September 22nd and 23rd at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Listen to win your trip.
Vegas!
Introducing new M&M's brand caramel candies. Or is it caramel? No matter how you say it, they're delicious. Unsquare caramel or caramel with new M&M's brand caramel candies today.
When was the last time you walked out of a mattress store feeling confident about your purchase? These places exist for one reason: for a highly trained, commission-driven salesperson to dupe you into spending way too much money on a mattress. Hi, my name is Neil, and I'm one of the co-founders of Casper. Casper was created with a single goal in mind: deliver a great night's sleep at an incredible value. So we hired a team of engineers and designers to develop a single perfect mattress that sleeps cool and has just the right sink and bounce. We sell the Casper mattress online, skipping the markups of mattress stores, and we let you try it out in your own home for 100 nights risk-free. In less than 3 years, we've rapidly become the internet's favorite mattress. In fact, it now has more than 20,000 reviews with an average of 4.8 stars. Try us out today. Simply go to Casper.com and use code MEDIA to get $50 towards your mattress purchase. Terms and conditions apply. That's gift code MEDIA at Casper.com for $50 towards your mattress purchase. Casper.com. Thanks for checking us out.
The reviews are in, and the reviews are great. The Brush Nickel Waterpik Varden Series handheld shower head is only at the Home Depot, and right now, it's only $24.98. It's soaking up compliments because it installs in minutes, with 5 spray settings perfect for kids and pets. And after a long day of kids and pets, you. So relax, and save with the Waterpik Varden Showerhead, now just $24.98. Only at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Valid through November 4th.
Migraine is a disabling disease affecting over 36 million Americans. The American Migraine Foundation helps people living with migraine to find the support and treatment they need. Make your move against migraine at AmericanMigraineFoundation.org.
This is Dunc and Holder on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
Back at you, Dunc and Holder. A bit of a defeated man here, as Jeff and Sean Fazan teamed up to rip me. That should never happen on this show, ever, never ever.
We weren't hating; we were just pointing something out. There's a difference. There's a reality, and then there's a perception. This was the reality. It was a unbelievably bad pass.
I'm going to go.
I don't even know how that happened.
I'm going to go on Twitter and become one of those Twitter trolls that go after you all the time. I'm just going to make a fake avatar and just, I love Larry Holder, and just rip you to shreds.
Join the party there. Join the army, the legions.
Join the legions
of trolls
of people. Well, Pelicans, they know where they're going throughout the 82-game schedule, and that schedule just came out yesterday, and you could go check out some in-depth coverage of the entire schedule, some of the intriguing games. Our own Will Guillory, of course, doing a great job at NOLA.com. You can go check out all of that. And don't forget, in about, let's say, 8 minutes or so, we'll have Sean Kelly on, Pelicans play-by-play voice. You can listen to him on our sister station, WRNO 99.5. But, Jeff, we talked about just briefly at the beginning of the show. Now we're going to maybe take a deeper dive into this thing. And you look at the schedule, and we talked about the early goings. Of course, they got to get off to a hot start. We all know that. And they almost face a similar challenge as the Saints, that it's going to be tough sledding to get off to a hot start. But what really stuck out to me is if the Pelicans are, say, as good as they think they can be, a playoff push, and Anthony Davis saying, look, we don't want to just be a fringe playoff team. We think we could be someone who can maybe make a little run. You look at the end of the schedule, and I'll start, say, at March 24th. And you go through that schedule, and if you are fighting to make the playoffs, this is a challenging run. I'll just start March 24th. You're at Houston, home to Portland. At Cleveland, home to OKC, home to Memphis. 3 West Coast road games at Phoenix, Golden State, and the Clippers, and you end at home against San Antonio. I mean, if you're having to go on a run to make the playoffs, even though, say, at Phoenix, you figure you're better than Phoenix, you're still on the road, and it's still something where that is a tough slate to me. If you got to go like 8-2 to make the playoffs, I'd find it hard to believe that they can do that.
Well, you're going to have to earn it. I mean, let's face it. If you're good enough to be in the Western Conference playoff chase, you should be able to beat Phoenix late in the year. I think Phoenix will probably be out of it by then. And the Clippers certainly going to be down without Chris Paul. They're not going to be the same level team. They've kind of blown that thing up a little bit. So I actually think it's possible that the stickier games, obviously, are the road games, ending the season against the Spurs, Memphis. Ending the season against the Spurs at home is going to be tough no matter what happens. They could be playing for a number 1 seed for all we know. But these are the kind of games they're going to have to win. Now they've got their roster in place. We're no longer hearing about if we get everybody healthy, if we can get somebody to play alongside AD. The excuses are over for this team, this front office, this staff. They've got to win, and they've got to get in the playoffs. People are tired of hearing excuses. It's been 5 or 6 years of excuses. And if they can't beat Memphis at home on ESPN on that Wednesday, the April 4th, they don't deserve to be in the playoffs.
And I know the front office is tired of the excuses too. Tom Benson doesn't buy a team after experiencing the top of the mountaintop with the Saints, and they get once in a, let's say, I'm not going to say generation, but once in every, say, 10-year stud like Anthony Davis, and then you team him up with DeMarcus Cousins. You get all these, and you expect some results, and you understand the loyalty and the leeway even Sean Payton would have. You can't have that same leeway with Adele Dempsey. You can't have that same leeway with an Alvin Gentry. Just can't.
Well, I think this year, giving them an extra year is showing loyalty and giving them a little more rope than most organizations would. That's typical of this organization, and it's what makes it different than most across the country, good and bad, I think, is that they do show loyalty. They value stability, and sometimes maybe too much. You can make that argument. But as far as the Pelicans are concerned, they've run out of rope. This is it. And I think everyone out there knows it. Certainly Alvin Gentry knows it. We asked him on the show.
Yeah, he's no dummy. He understands the circumstances. Why don't we take a quick break right here on Dunc and Holder, and when we get back, we will have Sean Kelly, radio play-by-play voice for the Pelicans, and we'll get his perspective because he'll be calling all these games, and he knows this team about as in-depth as you can get. And, of course, I keep plugging it. Can't forget it. Our sister iHeart radio station, WRNO 99.5, your flagship station for all things Pelicans. So coming back, Sports1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeart radio app. We're Dunc and Holder.
Inside and out and love strange.
Your forecast on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
This report is brought to you by the Foundation for a Better Life.
From the Fox 8 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Bruce Katz. Today we're expecting another day with scattered showers and thunderstorms. Could see some heavy downpours. Coverage at 50%. Going to be a hot day too, the high of 93. Now tonight, most rain ends with lows in the mid to upper 70s. And then as we wrap up the work week, getting into Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, rain chances actually go down a bit, but temperatures go back up. Rain coverage averaging around 20 to 30%, but high temperatures in the low to mid-90s. From the Fox 8 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Bruce Katz with your Weather Authority forecast.
Would you be mine? Could you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor?
Hi, neighbor. Mr. Rogers passed along friendship, hoping we would too. Friendship, pass it on from the Foundation for a Better Life at Values.com.
Napa know-how.
For something that has anti in its name, Prestone Antifreeze and Coolant, now just $11.99 at Napa, sure is pro a lot of things. It's pro keeping your car from overheating, pro maintaining your engine from wear and tear, and pro saving you cash. Prestone Antifreeze and Coolant, just $11.99. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Offer expires 8/31/17.
Napa know-how.
The Napa Legend battery does legendary things, like starting your car when the heat index hits $1.25, or making sure your AC stays running like a gazelle. And now, when you buy a Napa Legend battery, you'll get a prepaid Visa card by mail worth $15. $15 back and a new battery? That's not just legendary. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Offer expires 8/31/17.
The backyard's looking great, Rob.
Thanks, man. I was planning on adding a deck, too. Know any good contractors?
Why don't you just ask Home Advisor?
Home what?
HomeAdvisor.com. You just tell them about your project and they match you with local pros that can do the job.
Nice. Now, how much does it cost?
Oh, Home Advisor's totally free to use. Plus, you can read customer reviews, check pricing, and book appointments for free.
What's the website again?
HomeAdvisor.com. Or just download the free Home Advisor app.
Home Advisor.
Are your data limits limiting your human potential? Dreams buffering. Do slow networks make your soul feel sluggish? Megabyte molasses. With Simple Mobile, you get truly unlimited high-speed data for just $50 a month. Bucks meaning dollars, not dear. If you want better wireless, the answer is simple. Simple Mobile.
Available at Best Buy, Dollar General, Walgreens, and other national retailers. Video typically streams at DVD quality. A month equals 30 days. Please refer always to the latest terms and conditions of service at simplemobile.com.
We bleed purple, green, blue, black, and gold. Sports 1280, New Orleans.
Welcome back, Dunc and Holder. Got us for another half hour. And joining us right here on Dunc and Holder on Sports1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeart Radio app, Sean Kelly, the Pelicans radio play-by-play man for, it seems like, 7 decades. I don't remember the last time Sean Kelly was not doing play-by-play. I'm sure he will let us know here, but he's joining us right here on Dunc and Holder. So, has it been about 50 years since you've been doing this, or what?
Some of these seasons it feels like it, that's for sure. This will be my 13th year, I guess. I think, yeah.
You can't even keep track. You have no idea. You've lost your mind. It's over.
I haven't, and hopefully the mind will come back for this schedule. What I really want to know is, what number guest am I on this finally newly minted program?
I don't know.
Did I make the top 50?
Top 50, yes.
For sure.
Okay.
Maybe the top 30.
I need to be one of the first 50 guests for you guys.
Maybe the top 30.
Yeah, you're right.
Wow.
You might be 49th. I don't know. You're in there. You're definitely in the top 50, Sean.
Okay, good. I was holding my breath thinking, if I can make the top 50 with Dunc and Holder, that will say something about where I've come, I think.
It's sort of like Drew Brees in his ranking of the top NFL players. You're in the top 50 for sure. Brees is so underrated, by the way, in those rankings. He's like 39th or something. It's insane. Just like you being 39th in our list. Way underrated.
Absolutely. Well, Sean, I know you've now know where you're going for 82 games in the regular season. What jumps out to you about this schedule, maybe a tidbit or two more than anything else, when you've had a chance to kind of take a glance at it?
It's not easy. I was told this morning that, according to the analysts, this is the second toughest schedule in the NBA behind the Phoenix Suns. And my follow-up was, okay, well, what learned, throughout the New Orleans NBA history, that the first 12 to 15 games tell us quite a bit. And as I think Scott Kushner pointed out in The Advocate this morning, no New Orleans team has stumbled out of the gate and ended up making the playoffs. They've all had to start strong to go to the postseason. And 8 of your first 12 are on the road, and you get both teams involved in the NBA Finals in the first 10 days of your schedule. In fact, it's your first 2 home games. So, those are just some of the initial things I looked at.
Sean, I agree 100% with you about the start, and I really feel like this team needs to get off to a good start, a lot like the Saints. I think just for the fans' confidence level, because of the circumstances this team has had to endure over the last few years with injuries and the slow starts and everything that's on the line this year, they really need some success early, I think, just to build some enthusiasm and some momentum. Don't you agree?
I do agree. And, on the Saints side, with the way that the schedule starts, if the Saints are 2-2 after the first 4, I think both of you ought to do a week of shows shirtless and just party the whole time. That would be phenomenal.
That would be hot. A bye-week shirtless show bonanza.
Yes,
no doubt.
For the Pelicans, I think they have to be better than 500, and that might be tough, especially because of the stretch that I referred to late November into early December. If you've got to have a fast start to regain the fans' attention. You have to have a fast start to regain confidence for the coaching staff with regard to their relationship with how ownership feels about things. You have to have a fast start because of the hole that they found themselves in the last 2 seasons and how it can be so hard to get out of. And so I can't give you a number of, it should be a 9-3 start or an 8-6 start or whatever. I just know that they've got to find a way to have something to feel good about after that first 12 to 15. And I think it's doable because, yes, you do face Cleveland early. You face Golden State early at home. You got a tough road trip in there. But then there's a slew of games in that first 12 to 15 against non-playoff teams of a year ago that you probably, if you want to be a playoff team, you are expected to take care of business. And that would tell us if they're able to take care of business early on, as it would extend out to the rest of the schedule.
Sean Kelly, Pelicans radio play-by-play voice, join us right here on Dunc and Holder. Follow him on Twitter at Sean Kelly Live. Sean, this is really the first time we've had a chance to talk with you about some of the off-season moves. We know Drew Holiday is the big acquisition to maintain him on the roster, adding Rajon Rondo. And, look, we had Alvin Gentry on a couple weeks ago and saying, look, Rondo is going to be the point guard when he's in there, and Holiday is going to be the 2. And, of course, you're going to have Boogie Cousins and Anthony Davis. Just give me your reaction to some of the moves they made. I know they added Ian Clark, who's kind of a backup role player for the Warriors. Just kind of your perspective on some of the moves, and how do you think they may look, say, game one at Memphis as far as the lineup's concerned?
On paper, they're better, and significantly better, which I think is what Pelicans fans wanted to see. I think the Rondo acquisition is very key in that you really now have 2 point guards on your team. God forbid one of them gets hurt. You still have a frontline point guard. Otherwise, I think that Drew is more comfortable off the ball. I think he's more dangerous of the two. Rondo is such a good passer. And in fact, I think that this roster now as a whole is a great passing team, which will serve the 2 big guys very well. The key here is spacing with Davis and Cousins. And the new offensive coordinator, Chris Finch, who comes over from Denver, I think that's on his mind. I think they will play a brilliant high-low game together if they can space the floor properly. The Pelicans are just fine at guard now because now you have Rondo and Holiday locked in as your starters, and there's depth behind them now. But I still have questions about the wing position. I think Solomon Hill is a very good defender at the 3. He's just not a natural scorer. They need a shooter still. Is Quincy Pondexter going to come back and play? I don't mean to have an awkward tone about that question, but it's a major question going in because you need help on the wing, and then are you going to rely on the fact that Davis or Cousins has to be on the floor for every minute? I mean, obviously they'll play together at the key spots in the game, but you have to then make your rotation that one of them has to be out there at all times. Those are some of the questions you have to figure out, and then do all these pieces fit together? Good question. I don't know, and I won't hazard a guess at this point.
Sean, I'm intrigued to see how Chris Finch puts this offense together. I'm envisioning it, I'm sure we all have, this high-low game like you talked about with AD and Cousins, and we saw a lot of that last year to some degree. And are we going to see Rondo and Holiday out on the wings, kind of the outlet off this high-low game if they get double teams? I'm really intrigued to see how this thing works, or if it even does work, if you're going to run the offense and funnel everything through the 2 bigs. It's going to be interesting to see how it comes together.
It really will be. I find it interesting that when Rondo and Cousins play together in Sacramento, each of those guys had their best seasons of their career. So they seemingly work well together, and Rondo is truly a pass-first point guard. I'd liken this a little bit, too, if I can use a football analogy here. You get that handful of college football teams that run that wishbone or a veer attack out of their backfield, and it really throws a curveball because nobody else is doing it. And so a football team that has to prepare for, say, a Georgia Tech or Navy that runs that kind of an offense, it is so counter to what else you're seeing around the league that it becomes a nightmare for teams to prep for you. And so because you're going to feature 2 bigs, which seemingly is not the trend anymore in the NBA, are you now the quote-unquote wishbone team of the NBA? And so therefore you're so different that it does cause matchup problems? It does give you an advantage in some sense? I don't know.
Sean Kelly, Pelicans radio play-by-play man, join us right here on Dunc and Holder. You mentioned the differences of the wishbone. How much, this may be a silly question, but does the fact that DeMarcus Cousins lost a bunch of weight, does that hinder his ability to be a low post guy? He's been known as so much of that in his career. Does that alter the way they use him, or do they still see him as a guy back to the basket, low post threat?
I don't think it changes the way he plays or the way that the Pelicans are going to use him. I think it changes his durability and his effectiveness. One of the things that Alvin Gentry talked about after acquiring Cousins last year in the trade was that Cousins wasn't nearly in the shape that he needed to be in to play effectively for longer stretches. The numbers were dramatic. When he would play anything over 8 minutes, from 8 minutes on the floor on, his numbers really fell off. And I think that by losing the weight and being in much better shape, I think that you get a higher level of play or a more consistent level of play from Cousins over a longer stretch of time, and you don't have that severe drop-off. that we saw, after he joined the team following the trade deadline. So I think that's the biggest effect of him dropping weight and being in better shape, is that he'll be able to hold his own longer than he had been able to in the past.
Do they have enough shooting? I mean, is Ian Clark and Jordan Crawford, are those guys good enough to be the wing scorers, or can they still add some more to that mix?
I think they need to add something, on the wing. I think that Clark and Crawford both are very good shooters, but I think they make your guard situation A-okay. I think that you have plenty of depth at the guard position. I'm not so sure you can do a three-guard lineup just because of the defensive liability there. I think you'll see it at times because you're going to have shooting and ability to keep guys away from the bigs. But I still think they need to find a true wing shooter, and whether that's somebody that they can develop from out of nowhere or there's another deal in the offing at some point, I'm not so sure, but it's still a need, and they need it on the wing, especially at the small forward position.
Sean Kelly, guest number 3949. We actually don't know. He may actually be in the top 30 for all we know.
I think he's higher.
I think
he should be higher.
Yeah, absolutely. But Sean Kelly, of course, the Pelicans radio play-by-play man for we think 13 years, if Sean's memory has not been fried by a million zillion basketball games he's covered.
Maybe some martinis. I don't know.
Oh, maybe
with Honda.
Well, the martini level will be directly in relation to how the team starts. Let's show that.
Beautiful. And you can, of course, listen to all those martini-driven radio calls here on our sister station, WRNO 99.5 FM. Hey, Sean, appreciate the insight, and I promise you we will pester you again to come on this fledgling radio show we call Dunc and Holder.
I'll hold you to it. Thanks, guys.
All right, Sean. Appreciate it. Great insight from a guy who has seen it all for years and years. And look, even though he is technically an employee of the Pelicans, he knows. I think everyone knows the score there. Everyone knows.
It's one of my favorite things about the entire Pelicans radio and TV crew, from Joel Myers to David Wesley to Sean Kelly, JD. They all pretty much speak the truth. They don't sugarcoat it. They have to be employees for the team, and obviously they're not going to say anything totally negative, but they also will say when the team's playing bad, when they're not getting back on defense or they're not doing something that needs to be done, they will speak the truth to that. I enjoy their broadcast very much because of that.
Absolutely. Let's take one final break here on Dunc and Holder. If you want to get involved with the show, we got one more segment, 504-260-1280. We talked Pelican schedule. We've talked Delvin Breaux. We've talked future potential Saints quarterbacks in this maybe coming up draft class. Maybe it's Tanner Lee. Ooh, intrigue. But we'll be talking a little bit more of that coming up in our final segment here on Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeart Radio app. That's Jeff Duncan. I'm Larry Holder. Makes us Dunc and Holder.
Welcome to the grind.
This one is gone.
The day in, day out. One series to the next.
100-mile-an-hour struck him out.
The Cakes take on the Round Rock Express. Tonight at 7, Sports 1280. Your home for the New Orleans Baby Cakes.
Men, you know how women are always suggesting something looks really good on you, and you think it's because they want to change you? It's the exact opposite. Frigo by RevolutionWear.com is underwear reimagined, the ideal solution for all that squirming and adjusting you're experiencing. Frigo by RevolutionWear.com releases you from pinching, pulling, and restricting. And trust me, they love the way it looks on you. Frigo by RevolutionWear.com. The revolution starts below.
Rich Eisen here. Traveling this summer? Then get into the 2017 Honda Civic. It's got an available turbocharged engine for exciting performance and 42 miles per gallon on the highway. It even has Honda Sensing, a suite of available safety and driver assistive technologies, including lane keeping assist. So if your Civic begins to stray from the center of a lane, the steering adjusts to help bring you back. Hurry into the Honda Summerbration sales event today for great deals on the All-Star Civic.
AutoZone presents the oil change. Regular oil changes protect your engine from wear and tear, helping your car roll well beyond the 100,000-mile mark. And right now, you can get 5 quarts of Valvoline conventional motor oil and an STP filter for just $23.99. So visit your local AutoZone. With over 5,000 locations, the right supplies and good advice are just around the corner. Let's get you what you need. See store for restrictions and details.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Rich Eisen here, and here's something that really caught my eye. It's the 2017 Honda Civic, and it's bringing some game-changing features to the table, like Honda Sensing, a suite of available safety and driver assistive technologies, including road departure mitigation system, which alerts you if you're about to leave the road and can help to keep you from going, if you will, out of bounds. Right now, you could get a great deal on the stylish Honda Civic at the Honda Summerbration Sales Event. So hurry into your local dealer today and check out the Honda Summerbration Sales Event going on now.
Are you looking for a way to give back to the men and women who have risked it all in defense of our country? Do you need community service hours for your school or job? The Veterans Housing Outreach Project is looking for you. The project has weekly and monthly community service hours available at sites around New Orleans, Marrero, and Hahnville. If you'd like to help, email homeless.veterans66@yahoo.com. A message from Sports 1280 Communities, helping to make a difference in New Orleans.
1 Hour Air Conditioning and Heating, together with Micro. 1 Hour encourages you to choose licensed technicians to service your home. Call 1 Hour today. 855-1-HOUR. That's 855-1-HOUR.
Dunc and Holder now. Josh Innes next at noon on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
One more segment here on Dunc and Holder. If you missed any of the show, NOLA.com iTunes, NOLA.com SoundCloud, and Sports1280.com. You can find all of the podcasts. And something we did not touch on, but certainly notable, since we talked about Lindsey Scott transferring from LSU, did not take long, puts on Twitter, East Mississippi Community College, press to reset. And it's a reset button with the logo on there. So, Lindsey Scott going the JUCO route. And look, Mississippi's JUCO programs, I used to work at the Biloxi Sun-Herald. It is a hotbed for prospects. Lots of prospects who end up going to big schools after hitting their JUCO ranks. It's a big state full of JUCOs and full of good programs. So and Jeff, I think another interesting aspect of this is,
well, first of all, let me comment on that, because you're right. That's the program, of course, that's become famous now because Netflix series Last Chance U. They produced Chad Kelly, who went to Ole Miss, and DeAndre Johnson, who had kind of gone awry of some things at Florida State and ended up at East Mississippi, and now is, I think, at Florida Atlantic with Lane Kiffin. So it's proving to be a pipeline for quarterbacks. Makes a lot of sense for Lindsey Scott to go there. But what I wanted to touch on was a little news item that occurred late last night, and it probably flew under the radar here. We're so football-centric, but Marvin Bagley, who is probably the number one high school prospect in all of basketball, announced that he's reclassifying into the class of 2017 and is signing with Duke. So he's going to play for Duke this year, and in all likelihood will be the number one pick in next year's NBA draft. That's how highly he is thought of. He's a much heralded guy, a lot like Anthony Davis, kind of a 6'10", 6'11", very mobile player. He's going to Duke like they need any more talent, and it's going to be a stacked draft next year with Michael Porter, DeAndre Ayton, who's going to Arizona, and Marvin Bagley. We all hope the Pelicans are not in that mix to get the number one overall pick, but it's probably going to be this guy, Marvin Bagley.
What's his backstory? You say reclassified. What does that entail?
He's a power forward out of Arizona. He's an Arizona native, and like a lot of these elite players, has hopscotched around to different programs. And that's what's interesting is Duke has taken two players, Trayvon Doral, a point guard, and Marvin Bagley, that have really sketchy academic backgrounds, guys that have bounced from school to school, are almost certain to be one-and-dones. Duke has kind of, I think, decided if Kentucky's going to have this much success doing this, we're in that game as well. So is Arizona and Kansas. Everybody's doing it now, and it's just interesting that Duke is also doing it.
Well, you look at it, and when did they maybe turned the table and started doing that. I think, what was it, Elton Brand maybe, kind of the most famous of their players who came out early, and because for so long, you think back with the great teams of Duke, Christian Laettner, Grant Hill, and all those guys, Bobby Hurley, they were there forever together. And Duke is one of the few programs, correct me if I'm wrong, that tried to maintain players playing together for a while. And, of course, they've gone by the wayside. Look, Kyrie Irving, what was he, one and done?
Definitely one and done. Yeah,
right.
They've had a bunch of them. And if you're a top prospect, if you're Marvin Bagley, who apparently has family from the Durham, North Carolina area, why wouldn't you go to Duke? I mean, what a great experience. You're going to probably play 1 year college ball. Why not go to a great school, great campus, in an elite conference, play against the best competition, and play under one of the greatest coaches to ever coach college basketball? To me, it's a no-brainer. That's where I would go if I had the chance to play in Cameron Indoor Stadium. It'd be incredible.
Let's go to the phone lines, 504-260-1280. Let's go to Bob in Mid-City. What's up, Bob? Thanks for calling Dunc and Holder. What you got?
Hey, Jeff, Larry. Look, man, I'm one of the callers from the old show decades ago. That was about 6-7 decades ago when you had the old sports hangover.
That's just like Sean Kelly, 50 years of calling radio. I know.
Exactly. Anyway, I just wanted to check in. You guys are doing a great job, man, and it was great you had Sean Kelly on. I know it's football season. I'm not clueless, but I'm a basketball freak, so I like that you do a little NBA coverage, too.
Oh, yeah. Well, I appreciate the phone call, and we're going to do that. Look, whatever's going on, and we're almost going to be a reflection of what we do at NOLA.com, the Times-Picayune. We cover everything year-round. It's just the nature of our media company, and we're an extension of that. And so just because it's Saints-heavy, and look, Saints drive the conversation on radio. There's no question about it. The NFL does, but we're going to include, look, the Pelicans schedule comes out. You absolutely have to talk about it. And as training camp comes, we will talk about it. We'll talk LSU. We'll talk Tulane. We'll talk whatever's going on. Even though Jeff is a horse racing nerd and I'm not, well, guess what? People like the fairgrounds, and we'll talk about that. Unfortunately, there's no real connection for me to get tennis on. How am I going to do that, Jeff? How am I going to do that? I can't do it.
Bob, Larry, just if you remember, if you got any connections to Teddy Mercury or any way to get a hold of him too, that'd be real good, man.
Teddy Mercury. Thanks. Appreciate it. One Joe Cardosi getting a shout out. Old Teddy Mercury. That was some legendary radio back in the day. But Jeff, I'm making you a legend one day at a time here.
Oh yeah,
one day at a time.
Slowly, we're getting to legend status after 1 month on the air. I think the only legend on this show right now is David and his hit spinning machine in there, pulling out Debbie Gibson and Beasties every day.
He gets more kudos via Twitter and email,
fan mail, yes,
phone callers than we have combined.
Clyde's supposed to be sending me a set list for all our guests, so they all have some coming to bat music.
So Clyde, our social media man in sports for NOLA.com, is going to give up walk-up music now? You got to be kidding me.
No, that's what we're working on, man.
That's a great idea.
The only one in old show era who had walk-up music was Brett Martell. Who photobombed.
What was his?
Who photobombed our show last week and agreed with you.
What was his walk-up music?
That crime is cool if you're in the NCAA. He agreed with you.
That's what we said.
His walk-up music, because I always would call him Brett the Model Martell after Rick the Model Martell from old WWF. Now, of course, you're supposed to call it WWE. But old WWF wrestling days, and we would play his theme song, and Rick the Model Martell would walk up with cologne, and it was just arrogance. That was the name of the cologne, and he'd spray it in people's eyes and burn it. But Brett the Model Martell became widely known as that. People would go up to him in groceries and be like, "Hey, it's the model." He'd tell him who he was.
Brett
You're the model.
Not have an arrogant bone in his body.
You get it?
Exactly.
You see the irony there?
Well, doesn't Herb Ethiopia have his own already? Now we're doing Game of Thrones for the Herb strip.
At least it's the rock version, right, Dave? It's the rock
I got the rock version of it.
Yeah.
He definitely deserves one, and we got to get Will in there somehow.
What's up, Will?
There you go. That's enough.
That's
Boogie
his walk-up.
Cousins.
That's his walk-up music.
What's up, Will?
All I know is if I had walk-up music, if I was a baseball player, it would be the 90210 theme song. Have to be. I live life just wanting to be Brandon Walsh every day.
The show has derailed again.
You
What about
took me
take
there.
it to the top?
No, take it to the top.
No?
I guess he's a Hall of Famer. But Brandon Walsh, he's why I got into journalism. Do you
Really?
understand that? 90210, the character?
No, I don't know.
He broke up a steroid ring in high school, and he took it to the top.
That would be my walk-up music right there. Midnight Star.
Oh boy, what a way to
on the dance
what a
floor.
way to end a Tuesday show. I want to thank Sean Bazan, want to thank Sean Kelly, want to thank our legions of phone callers, local and beyond. Appreciate all that. Look, we're done. Wednesday show should be a fun show. Sam Farmer from the LA Times.
Yes, going to
scheduled to join
visit
us.
from LA and give us an update on the Chargers and the StubHub Center, the smallest stadium in the league.
Absolutely. So come on back tomorrow. Sports1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeart Radio app. He's Jeff Duncan. I'm Larry Holder. We're Duncan Holder.
Sports 1280, New Orleans. Instant replay. Jordy Holtzberg, weekdays, 2 till 4.
The head coach of the LSU baseball team